I was really fortunate. When I was 19 years old, I met a wonderful gentleman who was very successful with his family. He was very successful giving to charities. He was very healthy. He was very gentle and kind. And when he started to share with me, to teach me that my entire reality was based on what I believed was real, and what I believed was true about myself, about what's possible, and that I could change that, that's when my life started to change. And he said, if you start to change the way you think, and you start to learn every day for 1 hour to upgrade your knowledge and your skills, and then you take action every day on the things that are the most important instead of all the different things that you can do. He says, if you focus on doing 3 to 5 things every day towards your goals, he says, in 1 year, you'll be at a totally different destination. 3 years, amazing. Big distinction. 5, 10 years, your life won't be the same. And I was tired of living a mediocre to less than mediocre life. And so I said, listen, you seem to have a good plan and a good path. You're making millions of dollars. You're giving a lot of money to charity. You're happy. You're healthy. You've got a great family. I want that. And he said, if you want that, follow the blueprint. Don't try to figure it out. Just follow the blueprint. And that was another lesson that he shared with me, is that you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yes.
Like if you want to fly right now, you don't have to figure out how to fly. You know, there's already a blueprint for how to generate or create an airplane.
Yeah.
So if you want to be healthy, there's already a blueprint. If you want to make more money, there's already a blueprint. If you want to buy real estate or the stock market or start a business and grow a business, there's people before us that have already got the blueprint. And all you have to do is paint the numbers inside the box, and then you can use your creativity. So I just became a very good follower for a long time of things that worked. And when you follow things that work, it's like having the combination to a safe. If somebody gives you the combination to a safe and they tell you turn this way a little bit, 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 then open it, you can have access to it. But most people don't look for the combination. And then even when they get the combination, they try it in the wrong order. The first thing that you have to ask is, what are your highest values? So for me, for example, my number 1 highest value is God. My number 2 value is my health. My number 3 value is my family. My number 4 value is contribution to the lives of others. My number 5th value is fun. So every day when I wake up, I think about, what am I doing today to connect with God? For me. Yes. Just for me. It doesn't have to be, it's not religious, it's just for me. Then what do I need to do every day to make sure that I'm healthy? What I need to do every day to make sure that my family and my dear close friends who are part of my family, that I have the relationship that's rich. Then contribution. How do I use my passion, my gifts, my stories, my things I've not done well, things I have done well? How do I share that with the world? And in doing that, I feel good. And then I have to have fun. And so if I do those 5 things every day, then at the end of every day, I've had a great day. And if you have a lot of great days, then you end up with a really great life. And that doesn't mean that you don't have ups and downs and things that don't work and trouble that happens and things that come up. But if you keep your focus on what's important, then the rest of the stuff is really inconsequential. And there isn't 100 different things you have to do. There's 2 or 3 things in each one of the areas that's important to you, that when you do those every day, you're so far ahead of the curve.
So subconscious is very moldable, and sits back here in your head, and through the power of mantra or affirmation, in Sanskrit language they call it mantra, you can actually shape and create patterns within your mind. And I'm sure when you run, and again I'm assuming that you say like, I can do this, right? You don't say like, oh no, I'm going to fail.
Sure.
Right? And through that repetition you create patterns in your mind. So if you follow a precise technique and system, you'd create patterns in your subconscious which then become extremely magnetic and start to attract like-minded people towards you. So I use those techniques. I had affirmations or mantras that I would say every morning and every night with, and what they consist of is a concise choice of positive words. So you never say something like, oh, I'd like to be surrounded by successful people, but if I don't, it's okay. That's not a mantra. It's like, I will surround myself with financially successful entrepreneurs who will teach me how to be successful.
Right.
And then it comes with the second thing that's important is a clear visualization. You have to have a clear visual concept of what the end product is going to look like. And then the third part of it, that's the most important component, is the feeling. You have to feel it, because feeling is emotion, emotion is energy, and energy is magnetic.
How do you feel it?
You remember a feeling of what it's like to experience sitting with someone who's a successful entrepreneur, spending time with them, walking away and asking yourself, wow, that felt really great. I learned so much and could really use these techniques in helping my business. Like, for example, if you win a race, you can remember the feeling of what it's like, right?
Yeah.
So if you're doing an affirmation for your next race, you say, I will win this race, or I can win this race.
And you start to visualize that feeling you had when you won the last race.
Exactly. You visualize yourself going through the little ribbon. Okay, I don't know how your races are, right? You're walking through the ribbon. You
barbed wire in our case, but
barbed wire, exactly. Laser fence, right? Going through that, and then the feeling. What the feeling like was. The feeling is like to win that. So you hold all three in your mind at the same time and you repeat it. It creates a pattern in your subconscious, which then becomes extremely magnetic. It vibrates at a particular frequency of that success, and it attracts things of a similar nature. And this works for even negative things. So if I sat here and I did an affirmation that said, I will be a failure, and I visualized it and I felt it, I'll attract that into my life. Just share with you a quick story. One of my very first workshops I did in New York City, I talked about this, and I was dressed all in my monk robe and my paint and everything and stuff. And at the end of this workshop, this guy comes up to me in a suit and he says, I really enjoyed the workshop, but this whole thing about affirmations, I don't really believe it. I think it's a bunch of hogwash. I said, like, totally fine. I said, look, I just left the monastery like 2 months ago. Can you help me prove that what I'm teaching is wrong? And if it's wrong, then I'll promise you I'll never teach it again. So I said, sure, happy to. I said, what do you do? He says, I work in Wall Street. It's like, okay, perfect. It was a Sunday. I said, from Monday to Friday, I want you to say an affirmation 20 times a day. All my stocks, all my shares, and all my bonds are doing really badly, and I'm losing tens of thousands of dollars. I want you to say those exact words. I want you to visualize all the numbers going down, and I want you to feel what it's like to lose tens of thousands of dollars in your investments. I want you to really feel it. That's the most important thing. I want you to do it 20 times a day, Monday to Friday. He looked at me and said, no. And I offered him $50. I didn't have that much money at that time. So I offered him. He said, no, he wouldn't do it. So I said, if you don't believe that a negative affirmation would work, why wouldn't you believe